Good afternoon. Welcome to Studio 5. Thanks for watching along. Okay, we hear it all the time that communication is the key to a happy and healthy marriage. Well, today we're going to peek in on those otherwise private husband and wife arguments and spell it out for you, giving you the words that could save your marriage. Studio 5 relationship contributor Dr. Matt Townsend says there is a right way and a wrong way to communicate. He's here to break it down for us. First, I want to know, in your opinion, what is the biggest mistake couples make when it comes to communication?
They try. They try to do it.
They try?
We just ought to stop. If everyone would stop, that's the male version. Here's the biggest mistake. See, we're fairly reactive emotional beings. And so if you don't pay attention to kind of what's not being said and kind of the nuance of what's happening in the relationship, if you don't pay attention to some of the subtle cues, you're going to keep forcing your partner to react to you. We're fight or flight animals, right? So if I come off to attacking, we're going to create problems and you're going to start reacting. So we don't even notice the reactions going on. You got to pay attention to the subtle. I call it the spirit. Notice the spirit of what's going on in these conversations.
And that spirit can change the whole dynamic really quickly. Okay, we have enlisted the help of actors from Stars Talent Agency.
Yeah, this is huge.
We videotaped a few scenarios and we're going to follow along and you're going to talk us through demonstrating the wrong way. They're going to demonstrate the wrong way to communicate. You're going to help us do it right. Okay, here's this first clip. Let's take a look.
So where have you been? Did you think of calling or texting or letting us know anything about where you've been? Have you thought about anybody except yourself? We've been waiting around since noon. Where have you been? What is your problem?
Okay, so clearly the interrogation approach is not working.
It's not happening. Do you notice notice the intensity? Notice how he's hounding her. Notice she's kind of got her back to him. There's an interrogation going on. There is no spirit of caring. If he doesn't show caring, what would you expect the person to do? If you know you walked home and you're in and the minute he's meeting you at the door and he's starting to jump down your throat, guess what? You know it's not safe. He's not inviting understanding, he's interrogating. So one of the keys to this is you have to have a spirit of caring. There has to be a caring feeling in there, a feeling that, you know what? I'm here. Let me just understand what you're going through.
And is that in the tone then when you talk about the inviting versus the interrogating? Is that in the tone and how we say it?
It's in the intensity. It's in how, look at how he's almost just kind of hounding her. He's chasing her like a dog would chase you to get to the kitchen, right? Isn't it ironic they're stuck by the fridge? And her back is to him. So notice what I'm trying to point out is the spirit. There's a spirit going on in that conversation which is not inviting. It's a spirit of interrogating and pushing and pushing. And
if you find yourself getting caught in that spirit of pushing and pushing and interrogating, what do you do to turn it around?
One thing I might do is I might say, hey, babe, I've been worried about you. I might touch if that's what she likes. And I might say, we've been worried about you. What you been up to? And then, see, that shows a spirit of I cared. I've been worried instead of me hounding. Anything you can do to bring the spirit in, even if you don't know what to say, but just the spirit, honey, I've been worried. Where have you been?
Love it.
And just stop at that.
Okay, you also say it's important to understand the other person's perspective, and we're going to see that demonstrated the wrong way in clip number 2. Here we go.
I don't know, I feel like I'm alone in this marriage.
You don't even know what loneliness is. I would like to see you stay home with the kids all day long, just dying for a break. And then when you finally come home, you go out with the guys. You go over to your family's house. You're out running errands. That's what loneliness is.
Whatever.
Okay, so there we saw him demonstrate. It was a real moment, right? He was sharing his perspective, sharing his side.
What was his feeling?
Loneliness.
He feels alone. And then did you notice what she did? She didn't understand it. She started debating it. Lonely? You don't even know lonely. And now it turns into a debate, an argument between who's more lonely. So the irony of that is until that emotion of his loneliness goes away, she's never going to get what she wants.
You don't even know.
Ever. And by the way, we could reverse it. She's frustrated and exhausted that he's lonely. I mean, she's got her own pain and issues. The problem with this, most of us don't sit there and try to understand. Instead, we get into the debate. If you start debating instead of understanding somebody, it's not going to work. And you can see it right there. And you can almost see it will escalate. And then he gets more lonely and she gets more frustrated. And we turn more into what we don't want to be.
So in those moments, we should what? Validate the feeling.
So I can see you, when you say you're lonely, I would suspend my need to throw out where I'm not lonely.
Yeah.
I'd hold all that back for now and try to understand him. Tell me more, when you say you're lonely, tell me more what that means to you. It might mean he's actually using the wrong word. Well, I'm not. It's just, I feel like I can't do anything right. I don't know. I don't have any friends. He might be explaining depression. He might be explaining something else. Once you can kind of understand him and show him you get him and you understand him, his emotion will come down. Then you can say, you know what? I totally see how you're feeling. And can I share how I'm feeling? Because I feel very similarly.
The key word there, and. You've taught us that word. Is a lot better
We'll show you that later. But there's a spirit in there, isn't there? And the spirit would be the spirit of understanding. Okay. This is a spirit of contention, debate.
Okay, another example shows our couple competing instead of cooperating. Clip number 3. Here we go.
Seriously? Seriously? You have nothing to say? Of course not. Because you like to create the problems, but you're not willing to talk about it and work things out. We're never going to get anywhere doing this. Do you know why you like to do this? Because you're selfish.
I'm selfish? Oh, that's great. I'm selfish? Who doesn't lift a hand around here? Who hasn't made a meal in 10 years? And when you get home from work, you sit on that sofa and watch the game. I'm selfish? What a joke.
Big competition going on there. Who's more selfish than the other?
Well, it's obviously her, because she's wearing those funny colors.
Oh my gosh.
But interesting thing about that, do you feel a spirit of cooperation? Are they trying to cooperate to solve this? Or are they trying to one-up each other?
It's definitely a one-up game.
It's a one-up game. So that's competition. They're actually competing to see who can make the whiniest complaining story about the other. So the solution would be, instead of trying to force, coerce, and compete with somebody, what if we just cooperated and said, look, okay, stop. Obviously, we're both hurting, and this isn't working. Could we find a way right now to get a solution where we can both have some of our needs met? And let's try to understand yours first. Let's take a few minutes to do that, and let's take a few minutes to understand mine. And we can solve this. We're big people. We can do this. Let's just cooperate and make it happen.
I love how you turned it into a team effort, right?
Instead of one words person. Like we.
Yeah.
See, that's so much different than the coercing and trying to force somebody into your story.
This is good stuff. This is good stuff. We've got one more clip to learn from. When we come back, a strategy to help stop the griping and actually find common ground. 2 little words every couple should find the courage to say when we return. Okay, we're back with Studio 5 contributor, Dr. Matt Townsend. Before the break, you showed us the right words that couples can use to help communicate a little bit better. Right. We're learning from these clips, these actors that are demonstrating the wrong way to do it. We have one more example of what not to do, so let's take a peek.
Is that how this is going to have to work? Am I going to have to start checking up on you now?
I can't believe you think I would do that. You would seriously have to be messed up to think I could do something like that. I will never be good enough for you. You are impossible to please.
Impossible.
Diffuse that whole scenario. What are those words?
Well, what if he actually listened, heaven forbid.
That would help.
Noticed what her pain was, and then found where he could agree. Do you know what? I do struggle listening. You're right. There's the 2 words. You're right. I do struggle with that. And I want to be better at it. And sometimes you don't make it easier, because you kind of ramble, or you go off, or you call names, or you do this. So you're right, and I want to do better. And
immediately the tension is just going to go down, down, down.
Most people never are told they're right. So in an argument, I honestly believe 80% of the time we agree. In fact, I've proven it with every one of my clients. When they start arguing, I'll actually help them talk through, and 80% of what they actually argue about, they actually agree on.
Isn't that interesting?
It's the 20% they don't, but they have so much energy, they don't see agreement. So if you would just start to identify the 80% where you're with them, and agree, and admit, and acknowledge, and apologize, and affirm, then you'll have a different spirit, a spirit of growing this conversation, building on it, instead of kind of groaning. Notice he just groaned and walked away. That walk away is hopeless. You could hear hopelessness in her voice, and you could see hopelessness in him. So 2 people ending hopeless, versus what if you just throw the fact out there? Look, we're struggling communicating again. Here we go again. It's happening. Look, I want to do better, and you're right. I do struggle listening, and I'm having a hard time hearing this because I feel like you're beating me down with it. So let's start over. Let me try to understand it. You try to do it without, you know, name calling or whatever, and let's get through this.
Good stuff.
Then you'll probably kiss.
And makeup.
And makeup.
And there's the good part of this conversation.
You'll cuddle and watch TV.
Yeah, and it stops there. That's the good side of this. All right, how can couples learn more about information just like this?
That's it. That's the goal. We have a date night. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of this. People are buzzing about this. This is going to be a big night.
This is huge. It's all about the 4 spirits, by the way. So we're going to go through each one of these scenarios, teach you the tool, teach you the spirit. It's a date night with Matt. It's November 9th, 7 p.m. at Eisenhower Junior High School. Just go to datenightswithmatt.com. It's $40 if you use a coupon code STUDIO5. Go check it out. Brooke's going to be announcing everything and kicking us off, and I think she's going to do a little solo song.
Oh, that was not part of the deal, Matt. Thanks, I think. Yeah, and I've warned Matt he better be nice to me because I'm actually introducing him. So I will be writing that speech the night before based on how I feel about him at the moment. Yeah, Studio 5 will be there doing a bunch of giveaways, so we hope to see you at Matt's big date night here coming up in just a couple of weeks. All right, switching